When you look at the dragons, what do you see? It's important. What do you see?
I suppose I see us.
Tell me.
Everyone says Targaryens are closer to gods than to men. But they say that because of our dragons. Without them, we're just like everyone else.
The idea that we control the dragons is an illusion. They're a power man should never have trifled with. One that brought Valyria its doom. If we don't mind our own histories, it will do the same to us. Targaryen must understand this to be king. Or queen.
Welcome back to another episode where heartbreak feels good. There's an airplane flying by. Is it a Edgar? I don't know. We'll see. Today we are breaking down last night's episode of House of the Dragon, Queen's Landing. Simple title, but I really love it. Gets straight to the point, as this episode does. And joining me today to talk about everything that went on down is Evan Harris.
Glad to be back, breaking everything down from House of the Dragon Season 2 finale. Right, Edgar? Right? This is a finale, right? This is what we're talking about?
Man, we'll get into it, but yeah. Season finale.
Season finale. Things have shifted dramatically. I think we're 2 for 2 for House of the Dragon so far in Season 3. I'm having a blast. I really liked last week's episode. This week's episode, remember, one of our themes from last week was like, we're all over the place because, we're back. Technically, we're back. There's a big war, a lot of different places and people. Now we're kind of like narrowing in on those specific locations, getting a lot of the drama, grief, momentous changes are happening across the land, across this series, and I'm very excited for things to come and what we just witnessed in House of the Dragon. Those closing moments were fantastic. I thought Emma and RC delivered some of their best work ever. It was fantastic. So I can't wait to break it all down for you. A lot went down here.
Yeah. I feel like once we get into we settle down in King's Landing, most likely next week, I think we'll be able to get a better structure for how we're gonna break things down, because I feel like, last season we were separated between blacks and greens, and now everybody is kind of getting scattered around the map. So I feel like now we're gonna have to maybe break it down in the future by locations rather than teams or whatever. But yeah, so far right now we are a little bit scattered, but we are getting back into the gist of King's Landing, maybe Aemon in the Riverlands and stuff like that. But sure. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start from the beginning?
I was thinking, let's start from the beginning, but let's break things down character by character. Because while there are, with House of the Dragon, there are a lot of characters. Some of the characters in this episode are grouped up, so we can talk about certain things one piece at a time. Last week we started with Rhaenyra, because that was the first scene we got. But I think we should start off with Rhaenyra again this episode, this breakdown, because she doesn't reappear. She doesn't reappear in the story. It's very quick, it's very slight, but we can start with her, get her out the way. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. From my perspective, as a non-book reader, it's funny. We did talk about Rhaenyra and her possibly impending relationship with Daemon, her father, Targaryen, in the future. I was not expecting what we got here, though, when we first see her. I did not know, because from my perspective last week, I thought, okay, don't kill Jace, don't kill the people on the ships, okay? I thought Baela saw who did that, so I thought she'd be like, oh, my sister's wrong. Nobody saw her. She was just a dragon.
Only Jace.
It was just Jace, and Jace is dead. So maybe we did talk about that. I forgot, but I'm like, okay, wow. So she just goes back to the Vale and is like, hey, Lady Aaron. The memes have been peak comedy. I love how
I fucked up.
I messed up, and Sheepshield are just like, oops. Peak comedy. I love. There's a lot of goofy moments in this episode that I really, really liked. With Helena especially, and then with Aegon too. But so this is very awkward, very funny. She's just like, I messed up. I can't go back home. Rhaenyra will kill me. And this when she first finds out, at least I think she didn't even know. But Lady Aaron has to be the one to tell Rhaenyra, yeah, your cousin, right? Jace is dead. And she like, oh shit. Like now she's really like, okay, now I really can't come back because Jace, the crown prince, is dead. And basically it's because of her, indirectly. And she refuses to go back. And then I like how she kind of pulls, socially, she pulls a we're both against, right? Rhaenyra's on my neck. Rhaenyra wasn't the best for you, right? She wasn't, she didn't give you the best part of the deal. You're just like a babysitter, Mary Poppins over here. So how about you, help me out here a little bit? And Lady Aaron requiesces and says, like, you know what? I don't really look over a lot of the air of the Eyrie. There's a lot of acres of bullshit over here. Do with what you will, basically. Like, have fun living on the land. Can't step foot in the castle, but have fun in the land. So that's her job. Just her part in the narrative is just stray in the Eyrie, and I'm guessing just wait for Daemon to come back into the narrative to help her out, or maybe not help her out. I don't know, but it's just very awkward. But that's Rhaenyra. She's in the Eyrie and she fucked up, and she refuses to go home.
Yeah, a bit of accountability for me. Last week, I've read the books, but I haven't read them in a while. I will probably read Fire and Blood again before season 4, the series finale. But I did say that her dragon egg in the books cracks after the dance. It happens during the dance. So, but it's same thing happens. But but yeah, with what happening right now in the Vale with Rhaenyra, I don't care. Again, like I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. The one thing I will say is that it will be interesting how the whole Daemon of it all comes into play in the show compared to the books. Also, another thing that contrasting what's happening with Rhaenyra and Nettles is that towards the end of the dance, Nettles kind of just disappears and we don't really hear of her. We're like, maybe like she goes to Essos or she just goes into the mountains somewhere in Westeros. So she kind of like maybe like becomes like a mythical figure of like, oh, this like witch with a dragon type of thing. And I was getting those vibes when I saw Rhaenyra arrive at the Vale. It's like, is this kind of like maybe trying to implement that little arc? But like maybe a little bit earlier for Rhaenyra with Sheep Stealer. I don't know. Yeah, like I enjoy the actress that plays Rhaenyra. I think they're really solid. I do like that little detail of Rhaenyra saying like, oh, like it wasn't really Sheep Stealer's fault. He was just scared. Like he's never been into battle. It's like, well, yeah, no shit, man.
No
like
shit.
he just wants to go eat fucking ghosts and sheeps and whatever. He doesn't want to deal with other dragons. He's like an isolated dragon for a reason.
Yeah, it's like a rabid dog. Yeah.
Yeah. So I enjoy that. I did like the visual of like Sheep Stealer kind of just like in the corner, like I didn't do anything. It was her. But yeah, like we'll see how it plays out in the Vale with Jane Eyre, because Rhaenyra is right about the fact that Rhaenyra promised her protection. She promised her a dragon, but like the dragons that she sent with them were just like baby dragons, like baby hatchlings, basically like the size of a cat. So now that she actually does have a dragon, but I do understand it from Jane Eyre's point of view of like, if I invite you back, like it's gonna look bad on me because you're basically responsible for the crown prince's death. So we'll see how that develops. So we'll see how the Daemon of it all comes into play. Again, like I'm very much in the dark as you are because this doesn't really happen in the books. This is kind of like new material. My other guess is that like later on when Daemon is talking to Rhaenyra in her chambers, and she asks him to find out who's the writer, and they're like speculating like, oh, is it one of the Greens or whatever. I wonder if Daemon is the one who's gonna find out, or if maybe Mysaria is gonna be the one who's gonna find out for her. Because again, I'm trying to remember from how the wedge between Nettles, Rhaenyra, and Daemon happens in the books. One of them being that she thinks that both of them are like sleeping with each other, and they're like this like love affair type of thing, and it's kind of like very basic of like a from like a jealousy level, less so like, oh, like you killed my son or whatever.
And that's definitely
um
not going to happen. Yeah.
yeah, and like, and I believe in Mysaria kind of like helps fuel that paranoia in the books of like, oh, like look, like they're, don't you think it's weird that they're like kind of like getting along together like Neros and Damon? So I try to see into the future of what Mysaria's role gonna be in King's Landing. Maybe it has something to do with Rhaena, and finding out that she's the dragon rider that helped, kill Jace during the Battle of the Gullet. So
Possibly.
we'll see. We'll see.
I would like it for Damon to be the one to fly there and just like figure it out himself.
And like, the fuck?
Be like, what the hell? And then like do his own weird, Papa Damon, Father of the Year, not great Father of the Year kind of thing, where it's like, I could see him, like, you tell me Nettles disappears from the narrative in the books. He could be the one to be like, you can't come back home anymore, but I can have you just fly off to Essos and have a great life. I'll spare you. Basically, you're my own daughter.
Yeah.
Maybe that's in season 4. But for now, I can see Damon being the one to go there himself and witness it there. And then maybe Mysaria figures it out. Damon withholds information from Rhaenyra. But I love seeing Damon and Rhaenyra together lockstep this episode. Those are my favorite parts. I wouldn't want to see within the next 6 episodes already friction between Damon and Rhaenyra automatically. I feel like that'd be too soon when we got all throughout season 2, which was like they did not get along at all.
Yeah.
I want them to be a little bit more united, at least in this season. And then season 4, they can get split up again. Or something.
Yeah, I think that the wedge might start happening towards the end of the season, because from the previews we see that Damon is still in King's Landing. We see him like negotiating or having like some type of confrontation with Ormond Hightower, like around Tumbleton, I believe.
That was interesting. I want to talk about that at the end.
Yeah. So we do need Damon in King's Landing for a little while more.
Okay.
But like even then, like the Damon Rhaenyra relationship of it all is really interesting, because again, there is the wedge that happens in the book, but like also Damon just seems way more tuned out. Not necessarily from her, but like even like romantically, like he gets, as soon as he gets to Dragonstone, he clocks in the whole Mysaria at all, and like he knows what's been happening between the two. He just doesn't care. Yeah, he just doesn't care. So again, like we'll see how that all plays out. And now we're gonna have to introduce also like Allison. Now it's not even like a 3-way dynamic. It's gonna be a 4-way dynamic. So
is a 4-way a throuple? Is that a quadruple? I forget. Is 3-way throuple? I forget how the terminology works online. But yeah, let's just talk about it now. I mean, there's a lot to talk about with Rhaenyra, Damon, Mysaria. Mysaria is finally back in the narrative a bit stronger than she was in season 2 already. I liked her in season 2, but she didn't have much besides like that one kissing scene, and she helped save one of the twins, I think. I don't know. But let's talk about it now. Rhaenyra was like the star of the episode, stole the episode. Mm-hmm. I was heartbroken already in the finale last week's episode. I was heartbroken for Jace. I told Edgar, like, I get more heartbroken when I see other characters react to the death. And this opening sequence was jaw-dropping. I think this was fantastic. The way the slow procedure down to Rhaenyra. You see Baela just like trying to look every other way besides Rhaenyra. It's so silent. It's so dreadful. And then just Emma's performance in this scene is so beautiful. She's going through every single stage of grief. It's so beautifully tragic in execution. I saw you guys talking about it on the DMs, but it was basically like Shakespearean. Like, because she's like talking to herself, having a full-on monologue with herself. I was like, oh my God, this is tragic. This is just beyond tragic. And then finally see the grief like overload her over Jace's body. It was beautiful to watch. It was heartbreaking to watch. I had to pause it because I'm like, I don't want to watch this. Like, this is, I hate this part. Just get it over with, please. Just rip the Band-Aid. But man, it was tough. This was really tough, but it was performed beautifully well.
Yeah, there's so many great lines throughout this episode, but like the opening exchange between Sir Lauren Morbrand and Baela in this episode of they arrive back in Dragonstone. They're carrying Jace's body. She's walking through like that little like hallway, and Sir Lauren asks like the battle, and Bela goes, "It is won," but like with Jace right behind her, following her, and like again, like that's a great thematic point that it keeps coming back to throughout the episode with that line. Then later on we have Corlys saying like, "If this be victory, I pray I never win another." Um, the scene between Damon and Rhaenyra of her saying like, "Oh, like, Vhagar leaves. I finally have the way to go to King's Landing," and like all of these two little boys that used to like, hide themselves behind my skirt, like they died for what? For me to like sit in an iron like in a chair made of swords or whatever the line is.
Yeah.
Fucking incredible. Like Emma kills it in this episode. One of my favorite things in that sequence that you're talking about of her like talking to Jace is that there's this moment. I think it happens after Sir Lauren kind of tries to like grab her and like pull her back, and she just like goes off, not just on him but like on everybody, basically saying like, "Oh, you guys have been like betrayed your queen," and like she's going on this rant, and then out of nowhere she just lets out like a wail, and it's so fucking painful. It's so good.
So
but
guttural.
yeah. But I do want to come back to this scene once we get to the auto scene at the end of this episode, because I think scenes like this of Rhaenyra grieving, particularly in this episode, they are sort of establishing. I mean, we understand that she is going through grief. We understand her pain.
Yes.
But I feel like a lot of people around her might look at that and see that she's just going insane. Pair that with like maybe, her the whole religious aspect that we saw last season with the red sewing of it all, and then the dragon seas trying to claim dragons and people dying in the middle of that. How that is gonna be perceived by the people present in the room of like, yeah, like like we hate the line of like every time a Targaryen is born, like the gods flip a coin, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But like there again, like given the times that this world takes place in, like I can see like some of the members from Team Black looking at her and be like, yeah, I don't know about this. Like she doesn't seem like, it's the stereotypical like maybe she's too emotional to be a ruler, which is bullshit. But I can see why that would be like an argument from some people in this world.
Yeah, I'm always curious about that because it's been since the end of season 1, I think, was when Ryan Condal was first talking about like this is when Rhaenyra is really going to change. We're now 3 seasons deep, and I'm waiting. As a person who hasn't read the books, I'm waiting for that shift. He talked about it again at the end of this episode in terms of like, this is where Rhaenyra, she's at the throne, but at what cost? It's that classic narrative trope of like, you got what you wanted, but then everything goes to shit right afterwards. Yeah. So I'm waiting for that shift from Rhaenyra. I did like the religious aspects. Daemon whispering in her ears about the song Ice and Fire, literally saying the song Ice and Fire. Last season that we just talked about, like all that kind of religious fanaticism. But in the context of this episode, while the religion part is there, I took it, as you said, a little bit more so of her being emotional and grieving. Like a lot of the things that like I didn't see any of that as an audience member. I didn't see any of that as craziness, as fanaticism. And even from them, I think, I see them being like a bit perplexed at Rhaenyra's plan to go there in the first place. But once they're there and they quickly take power, cut off Otto's head, I don't see that as them being like, oh, Rhaenyra's crazy just yet. I feel like, okay, she did the deed. It took 2 hacks, but she did the deed, killing Otto. She's a bit emotional. I'm waiting for the flip to get more religious, fanatic Rhaenyra that I think that they keep telling me is coming. But for now, I think the emotional weight of it all came through very much effectively. So, and I'm just waiting for the emotional and the religious aspects to meld into one in this season. Maybe in this season.
Yeah. Another reason why I also bring up that point about like, oh, like is she like going like a little bit insane or whatever? Again, not from our perspective, but from the perspective of the characters around her.
Yeah.
Also, just the way that Emma communicates not just grief obviously through her face, but like just physically, like her entire body language just shifts completely. She's like whenever she's walking, it's almost like she's like limping in a way. She's like lunging or whatever. Um, but Damon is the one who kind of convinces her to go to King's Landing, despite everything that has been transpiring. And it is technically a little bit of a dumb idea of like, A, you're trusting the word of Allison, and B, you're going without nobody other than just yourself and your dragons. Like, there's no like people supporting you. There's no like army or whatever. But like, and even though like, yeah, it is a bit of a maybe like a dumb idea, I do get the sense from, at least from Rhaenyra's perspective, of like, it's kind of like a suicide mission. It's like she doesn't care anymore if she like goes to King's Landing and she gets killed. It's like at that point it might be even a blessing. I think even in the episode itself, when one of her council guys is talking to her, trying to talk her out of it, she's like, well, if I die, then so be it. Like I don't care.
It is what it is. Yeah, at this point she's like flying with no qualms at all. She is fully ready to commit to her actions here. Especially like now that they have confirmation Vhagar is not there, there's not going to be a big dragon fight. The worst that we're going to get is citizens, and I am curious to see how the citizens react to Rhaenyra in the weeks to come, because I know they did like her last season with the gift access and the food and stuff like that. Yeah, Hunger Game style. Like, hey, we gave you guys food. Sponsor. But I wonder how, like, we see the reactions here, and I see a mix of, like, of course, you see dragons overhead. Again, nuclear bombs flying over your head. You're like, oh, this is a bit of a gloom and doom aspect to it. You don't see them on the streets being like, yeah, like, of course they're scared shitless. So now it's like, what do you do now to assuage that fear, Rhaenyra? But on top of that, yeah, she is going there very, very risky. And Daemon, who is like mostly careful, but also a hot-headed person, is also ready to go here. But again, there's no dragons. Like, again, the worst that we're going to get hit with is like, anti-dragon arrows from the towers.
The Scorpios,
From the Scorpio, yeah. But like they have like they have like 5 dragons going there at the very least. So it was they were going to win, but it was going to be a costly win if it wasn't for Alicent making her rounds this episode. And we see even with all that, when they get to there, they still would have got swamped if it wasn't for the gold cloaks. So
yeah, it does get a little bit messier. Yeah, it does get a little bit messier in the books, but we'll talk about it once we get to the fall of King's Landing later on.
Cool. But yeah, overall, Rhaenyra's stuff here was great. But let's dive deep, because there's a lot of interesting stuff here in terms of Daemon comes back. He is, and I like, before we get to that, I like Daemon's reaction to the
news,
getting the news from Jace. He's sitting there, partying celebrating with Oscar Tully. Simon Strong comes in and gives him some wine. Everybody goes crazy. I love shit like this. It's always so fun seeing Daemon and seeing the Riverlands, stuff like that. But he gets the news, and I think he handles it. Great work from Matt Smith. He's just like, he compartmentalizes it, because that's just Daemon, and you can't show like weakness or whatever. But we always do wonder, like, what is Daemon's relationship to the Strong Boys, to Luke and Jace? Like, what is his relationship to them? We haven't really gotten many one-on-one scenes with them, but I think Matt does a great job portraying like a little bit of like a gut punch, but then an emotional, like, I have to shield this. I'm in front of all my men here. I have to shield this, and then I have to lock in with Rhaenyra. I thought it was very good. And of course, it's not Daemon to come in there and be like, "It's okay, honey, it's okay." That's not Daemon. That's not who he is. But I did like his initial scene, and I like how he came in and everything that went down here with Mysaria.
Yeah. I do think that part of his reaction to the Strong Boys dying, both in season 1 and now 2, 3 now here, I do think that he sort of cares for them, because he did help raise them after Laena died, Laenor quote unquote died in season 1.
What's he doing?
I do think he's dead, because like no dragon can be claimed by two dragon riders at once. So he probably died at some point in Essos or something.
He died at sea.
He died at sea. But yeah, like I do think he cares for them, but I also do believe that part of him is like, well, that's one less strongbow that I need to worry about. So my children, my actual children with Rhaenyra, can one day like ascend the throne. There's one more left. We'll see about that one. Um, and again, like I don't think he's like plotting to like have them killed at some point, but I do think part of him is a little bit maybe glad that like okay, one less strong boy.
Quick question. So with Rhaenyra, is Aegon the child that he has with Rhaenyra?
He has Aegon and Viserys, and it would have been also Visenya, but it was a stillborn in season 1.
Oh yeah, stillborn. Yeah. So it's Aegon and Viserys. Then the other child who's with who's the other one? Like the last strong boy, the baby strong.
Joffrey.
That was Joffrey. Okay, those three are in Essos.
Yeah. No. So, Jace and Luz now are dead. Joffrey is still with Rhaenyra in Dragonstone, I believe.
Oh, okay.
The ones that she sent away were the ones that she had with Daemon.
Got it. Okay.
Kind of fucked up that like, oh yeah, let's protect the ones that I have with him. Like the other ones can stay here. Okay. But yeah, like now it's like Joffrey, you're up. You're the heir now. Yeah, Joffrey is the one that was born in episode 6, season 1. When like Alicent basically forces Rhaenyra to go up the stairs and show the baby to her. That's Joffrey.
Wasn't a good move. Wasn't a good day for Alicent.
Which is kind of like a reference also like of like Rhaenyra leaving like a trail of blood, and then we see that visual again later this episode at the end.
Oh, we didn't mention it, but great direction from Claire. I keep forgetting her last name.
Yeah. Kilmer,
I think, something like that. Yeah. I think it's now official. She directed the most episodes, or she will direct the most episodes of House of the Dragon. I think she has episodes 3 and 4 this season to come. But great direction throughout this entire episode. I thought she handled the comedic scenes very well, and the weight of that last ending sequence was just incredible. So yeah.
But back to Daemon, like they're singing this song. I do want to talk a little bit about this because the song that they're singing is I think it's the Fish Feed or something like that. It does refer to the Battle of the Lakeshore, which is also referred to as the Fish Feed. But like I have seen a lot of people kind of be like salty about the fact that we didn't get to see this battle in the show, because canonically it is the bloodiest battle of the dance, like on land. And it's kind of just like an afterthought here in the show. And it's a big deal also because it's led by the Winter Wolves, by like the Starks, the older Stark men. And also because they basically defeat most, if not all, like of the Lannister armies for the Green. So again, like both sides take like major losses, but it is a huge win for the Blacks of like getting rid of basically the Lannisters from.
Dang.
And we do see that is communicated in the show, but again, it's more of like the aftermath.
Yeah, we see like the heads of the Lannisters, and that's kind of it. That's kind of surprising that they kind of la-di-do-da-day, the Lannisters, when they're like the main antagonists of Game of Thrones. And now it's just like, oh, Lannisters are dead. We won. Goodbye. Sorry, Lannisters. See you in 100 years or 50 years with Daenerys and them.
And then we do have the stuff with Alice Rivers in the river.
I want to go over that. Yeah. Let's talk about this.
Shout out Caraxes drinking water. Let's go, my boy.
That was very cool. I'm like, okay, spend like 10 seconds of him just gulping the fuck out of that water. Must have been good.
Hell yeah.
I love Caraxes. He's my dog.
Yeah, he is probably the best dragon in this show.
Hell yeah.
Along with Vhagar, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, like it's very interesting, this whole thing with Alice Rivers, because it was really fun to track her storyline with Daemon last season in season 2. But like we never really got like a full sense of what her motivations were.
Yes.
She was always like kind of like that like character that operated in the shadows, kind of like keeping her things like close to herself. But like we get a little bit more of an insight, I guess, in this episode of like she kind of strikes me as that type of archetype of I care for nature, I care for the land and for what this territory represents, but also because this piece of land in Westeros with Harrenhal, the Godside, it's very magical, or at least it's been alluded that it's been very magical throughout the histories of the books. And her being a witch, it would make sense why she's so attached to it. Also, the fact that the actress last season, she was saying like, oh, she might be like hundreds of years old. Um, so she has been living there longer than most people. She's seen so many people go through Harrenhal and lose it essentially. But yeah, like now we get a bit of a sense she wants Harrenhal, and probably the reason why she wants it because she just wants to protect the land, protect the territory. I don't know. We will see how that storyline develops later on in the season with Aemon. But it's an interesting endpoint for now to leave her and Damon's relationship until we see them again.
Very interesting. As you said, I love tracking her in season 2. I did not expect that she wants the castle. I get her allegiance to the land. I get her allegiance to the castle. But for her to fully say, like, yeah, can I own the castle? I was like, oh, interesting. Maybe she knew what was to come, but like it felt like, okay, the Blacks have the castle. What's wrong with her just like remaining in the castle with whoever's in charge? I didn't think that she ever wanted to be the one in charge of said castle. That kind of surprised me. But it does lead to some very interesting friction here where Daemon immediately like laughs her off basically. You don't have a noble husband, you have no name, you have no claim to the castle. I can give you some gold, I can give you some rubies. But like I can't give you that castle, sorry. And it's like it leaves the relationship off on an instantly not hostile, but like friction. There's a lot of friction in the relationship now. I'm like, okay, not good. Daemon is starting some friction with a lot of people. A
lot of people in this episode.
Yeah. I'm like, Daemon, I love you, buddy, but your social game is garbage. Like, you are not a good, like, the only good social game he has is with like other grown men with the golden cloaks, like the people in the army who are like, his army, the military, the fighting,
his boys,
that's the boys, right? Like who went through like war and blood and shit together. That's who are loyal to Daemon. Anybody outside of that, his social game is not great. So we'll get to the Ulf and them later. But like it was so interesting seeing him just like immediately discount her. Like, oh yeah, and I gotta go. See you later. Bye. And I'm just like, oh wow, that's not good. Follow that up with Aemon at her feet. I'm like, oh, double not good. Because she is like, okay, fine. Daemon screwed me over. I'm gonna have another royal person who's gonna be
another blonde guy.
This is insane. So yeah, I want to jump. No, I'll wait. But it was just so interesting seeing her immediately. Like you can tell, like reading the room, it was just not a good vibe the way that they left things off there. But I did like how she said at the end, like, heed your dreams. What did she say? Like like don't come back here. Remember, just don't come back here.
Yeah. I think remember what I told you.
Yeah, remember what I told you. Thank you. Yeah, it's like basically saying, don't come back here.
You're gonna die here.
You're gonna die here. It reminded me of Return of the Jedi. Like you're gonna die here, It's like don't come back. So not good. So very interesting. Granted, Daemon does not come back. Aemon comes there, but that's when things get dicey. But yeah, I am curious to see what Alice is going to do this season. But let's I want to talk about Daemon still with Daemon.
Daemon
and,
watch.
We're on Daemon watch still because we'll get to Alice and Aemon later. But we're on Daemon watch. I love Daemon watch hours. But Daemon come back to
Dragonstone.
Dragonstone and immediately starts shit.
Slapping people.
Daemon is my guy, guys. It's so much fun. Matt Smith is like, it's crazy who hasn't been nominated for jack shit in 3 seasons. But
anybody, really.
Anybody. Remember first season we were like, oh, Viserys has
Caddy Constantine. He has it in the bag.
He's supporting in the bag. Like who wouldn't do that? And then he wasn't even nominated. That was insane. But he comes in like, wait, who the fuck why the fuck are you two here talking to Ulf and Hugh the Strong here?
I will say, I do think it's a mistake the way that he handles the situation, but he is right why he's pissed off at them because
100% right. Yeah.
He left Harrenhal, he left the Riverlands thinking, oh, the garrison that I left there, the army that I left there, it's protected. There's 3 dragons there, 3 dragon riders there. I can just go to Dragonstone and see what's up with my wife. No, they're over there at the house, just hanging out, doing nothing.
I would be pissed. It's like you leave your friend in front of the treasure chest, being like, "Stay there. I'm gonna go back to my wife." He goes in there. They're already in his living room. He's like, "Whoa, what are y'all doing here? Nobody's back there defending this shit. Like, granted, me and you will probably go in there and be like, yo, Hugh. Not good. So this is what you guys gotta do. Like, go back there. Please go back. I understand you guys thought something. Okay. I'll be pissed. Let him have it for a little bit. Don't just like...
Yeah. And technically, they did sort of help, but like a little bit too late. Last week I was like sort of complaining that they didn't include the dragon scenes in the Battle of the Gullet. And then like showing them like at the Battle of the Gullet, but they were just doing like cleanup job. Like they weren't doing shit. Like you had the easy thing.
I thought of you like the first scene we get of this episode is like 5 dragons above burning shit. I'm like, it's kind of like every cop show where it's like, call in the FBI, and then the crime happened, and the FBI comes in the last minute, like, we're here now. It's like, y'all are late.
What?
And then the dragons here is like, what? The war is won. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Y'all just
Wolf like, we were at the Gullet. I was like, and Damon is just like,
he probably was like, like I can't handle stupid anymore. Because we saw their mindset last week, which is why I liked that scene last week, to really get their mindset. Like, okay, they were kind of like, and I've been in those situations before, like if you're at work or whatever and your boss gives you orders and you're just like, I think I'm supposed to be at position A, but I don't know. I'm just going to call it right now. Then you get like reprimanded or whatever. But Damon is not the boss to like really do your own thing with, call an audible. Because they come back and Damon is pissed. It's a very funny scene. Hugh is silent as a bitch.
Hugh is being the guy who's like, I'll just go with the flow.
I'll just go with the flow. Like, we fucked up, but like, I'm not gonna audibly say. I'll let Ulf take the brunt of it because he can't shut up. So Ulf takes the brunt of it because he starts making all these excuses, as we heard last week. We didn't see Vhagar. We waited 3 days. And then Ulf is the one, or Hugh is the one to be like, we thought, and that's when Damon gets really pissed. Like, you thought? You aren't supposed to think. You're supposed to ride. You're supposed to ride and fight. You're not supposed to think. Like, damn. That was just so crazy. But then he hits Ulf like twice. It was crazy.
Yeah, I didn't Ulf like almost try to like hug him when he saw him, like, Damon, like Prince or whatever.
Man.
This idiot.
Oh no, he calls him. Like, I didn't know if this was out of like pocket, but like he calls him like
did he call him the Rogue Prince? I forget.
He called him the Rogue Prince. I'm like, is that a bad term, the Rogue Prince? It's like, I don't know.
Well, that is a nickname that he earned, but yeah, like he should be like, it is his grace. Like, he is the king consort.
I think it would be like, hey, your grace. But he calls him the Rogue Prince. I'm like, I didn't know like if that was like a good term for Damon to hear, or Damon to be like, don't call me. Even last season, like one of the things that he kept getting annoyed by the people in the Riverlands is that they kept calling him my prince, when again, like in his head is like, it should be my, your grace or whatever. Like I'm married to the queen.
Yeah. But I just to like wrap up the stuff with the dragon seeds, I do again, like before they go to King's Landing, he just turns back one last time, like, I'm gonna give you your orders. Is this simple enough for you?
And Ulf is pissed. Like, read the room. Ulf is mad. So we definitely gotta put that in our
put it on the notes.
Put it on the notes. Like, not good. Again, these two guys with nukes, they can do whatever they want. They're pissed off with their boss. They can just quit and go somewhere else. Not very good in the middle of a war where things are so finicky, hostile. It's just not good. I'm very curious to see how they portray this in the episodes to come. But again, from my perspective, Hugh, as Edgar just said, Hugh is kind of like going with the flow. He's kind of in the middle kind of character. He seems still kind of loyal to me. He didn't fight back too hard with Damon's lashings this episode. And then, of course, we see Alan in the later scene, or Adam in a later scene with Sea Smoke. And he's definitely loyal to Corlys and them. So it just seems to be narrowing in on Ulf. And we'll see where that goes. I'm curious if you get like a three-way deadlock between the new Dragon Riders. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah. But and then Damon moves on past him and starts beef. Starts beef. Kind of. It's not really.
It's a rivalry, but like a friendly rivalry. It's interesting.
This was delicious as fuck. This was super, super delicious. Like, this is where I loved the Mysaria scene of Damon in season 1. I thought that was very cool. They didn't have much to do in season 2. But now we get a cool like Damon, Mysaria, because Mysaria was kind of, again, she rose up quickly in season 2 when Daemon was away. She became the Lady Whispers to Rhaenyra, or at least less so whispers, but more so just like consort, comforting.
Yeah.
Rhaenyra
She's very
and
much
Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra's like Laris, basically.
For
More
sure.
or less. Much better version, but yeah.
You know, yeah, much better, because Laris wasn't like affectionate or like comforting of a character. He was just like, he always told people what they wanted to hear, basically. Or he told them straight if it was Tyrion or whatever. But like, I did love seeing Mysaria like that in season 2, but now we have Daemon, we have the husband back at home, and as we mentioned earlier, Daemon can read the room. It's kind of like, oh, he kind of wormed. I love his first reaction, like, oh, you wormed your way up here. I didn't know you were back next to her room back here. Like, okay, shit. I thought you'd be near the front of the castle, but you're over here in front of a room. Okay.
Yeah, last time I left you a prisoner or something.
I left you a prisoner, and now you're here. You got a new fit. Okay, shit. She's probably, and then Mysaria's like, no thanks to you. You're like, you didn't do shit for me. And then now they're just kind of having this back and forth that is so delicious here, as they both, like, you know, are in position to comfort Rhaenyra, to help out Rhaenyra, but also want to help Rhaenyra for their own agendas. And it's not nefarious agendas, right? It's like Daemon doesn't want her to do anything evil. He just like, hey, he wants Rhaenyra to step up and be what she needs to be, a queen. While Mysaria also wants that, but just from like a more, I don't know, like a different perspective there. Yeah. It's just a fascinating thing. And then seeing this one, Game of Thrones, you know, Song of Ice and Fire in general, is at its peak when we see like these two characters with their slightly different agendas, just sitting on a bench and just like legs crossed. I feel like they both crossed their legs at the same time. It was just very funny. Just like, okay, so what's going on? What I missed? Like, it was just very funny. Like, hey, what's going on? Like, she's talking about Alicent again. Fuck, like, God.
Yeah. I love that. I love that line when they're like talking about like, oh, do you think she's still like fond of her childhood friend? And Daemon is like, oh, wouldn't that bother you? Something like that. It's like, it's really fun. It's really fun.
Yeah. It's interesting because, sorry to interrupt, but like, Daemon knows Alicent, right? There was a great line where, I don't know if it was that scene or a later scene, but like, he's like, Alicent isn't one to like connive and make all these like different plays, right? So she kind of like rides off on like the plays that are already at hand, rather than like being super conniving. I think this one ended up talking about like trusting Alicent or not. But it was just very funny because like Daemon was like not raised, but like he was in the castle alongside Alicent. He watched Alicent and Rhaenyra have this sisterhood friendship when they were young. Mysaria didn't. But it's like having these different perspectives on Alicent and this influence that's now affecting Rhaenyra, that's not theirs.
Yeah, you know, between last week when we did this show and now I rewatched all of season 1, and there's a lot of little details between, you know, many different characters. But one of my favorite things that I sometimes I do wish, and maybe we'll get at this season, that we got more scenes between like Matt Smith and Olivia Cook.
Me too.
With Daemon and Alicent, but I love you know, the wedding episode 5 in season 1. You know, when Alicent comes into the throne room in all her like green dress, and she starts walking into, you know, the dining table, and everybody in the audience gets up except for Daemon. Daemon is just like sitting down like, whatever. I love that. And then like also in episode I think it's episode 8 when the blacks come back from Dragonstone to King's Landing to do the whole petition about Luke's inheritance of Driftmark and whatever. You know, they come into the Red Keep and they start seeing all of these like different decorations. Like all the dragon decorations are gone and it's all replaced by the Star of the Seven. And they have like that confrontation between Daemon and Alicent. And I was like, oh, it wasn't necessary for you to do that too. Kind of like this back and forth. So I'm really excited to see like maybe we will get like a few more scenes between all of those characters, like Rhaenyra, Alicent, Daemon, Mysaria. Like it's gonna be very fun. Like
I hope
one of
do.
those
Alicent is here. Yeah.
It's one of those things where like it's both. It would serve the show, but it's also, it would just be fun to write for those actors. Like as a writer, like if you were to like, you know, be assigned to write a scene between all of those, it would just be very fun because there's a lot of rich tension between all of them.
Olivia Cook continues to be, even regardless of what people think of Allison's arc, Olivia Cook still is like top tier, S tier actress. She's still cooking every single scene. And again, I like some of her scenes more than most last season, but I can't wait to see her cook opposite some other interesting people, like besides her own family for once. Like she's been stuck trying to babysit Helena, Aemond, Aegon. She's talking with the Maester all the time, and that was kind of it. I kind of want to see her now opposite Rhaenyra, opposite Daemon. Like, come on. And Daemon like hates her guts. Like, oh man, it's like I want Daemon to make as many like auto jokes as possible in front of Allison. That'd be funny as hell. But yeah, I really want these two together because I'm still interested to see like how does Rhaenyra handle Allison? Do you just throw her in the dungeons? No, but like I'm curious to see what would happen. But anyways, yeah, just like I love the Daemon Mysaria connection is so fascinating. Like they weren't ever officially married, right? They were just like a fling. That was
Daemon and Mysaria?
Because like they were official only by Daemon's like word, right? It wasn't ever officially signed.
Yeah, he was just trying to get a reaction from Viserys, basically. The thing about Daemon is that it always comes back to his brother, to Viserys, at least, especially in season 1.
Yeah, that was like good shit in season 1. So yeah, it was just so awesome seeing them on the bench talk to each other about like a common threat in terms of Allison, while also being wary of each other at the same time. Just some good dialogue, good shit there. But then we see Daemon again. We talked about it, comfort Rhaenyra a little bit, but also saying like lock in. The key word, and I love to zoom in on Rhaenyra's eye as like it's just some good direction there. As like you see Daemon all up in Emma's ear, being like the song of ice and fire. And then Vhagar is gone. Her eye just like shoot up.
Whoop.
It's like, oop, okay, wait, there we go. It's like she got a shot of morphine or whatever, but or adrenaline. But then also, like, I do like the line where she's like, she's happy, she's ready, but at the same time, her 2 kids are gone. It's like, what did this cost me to be at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are like, and this has been the case in season 1 since the pilot of the show, that people keep getting annoyed about the whole prophecy of it all in the show. Also related to mainly related to how the main show ended with Daenerys, Bran, and all this stuff. And I get it. I get it from a very basic standpoint, but like I've always viewed this point of the story in the show with Aegon's dream, not only because we actually know that this is factual, that is more of a book thing than it is even like, I mean, it is a show thing, but it comes directly from George. So seeing these characters keep bringing it up and kind of like make decisions based on this prophecy, I've always found it interesting since day one. And even though, like, again, like I get why people always make the jokes like, oh, all of this just for Bran to seat the throne by the end of the story. It's like, yeah, sure, but like, again, that to me that's almost like separate from this. Yeah.
Like everything that's being seeded here is pure mythology, pure fanaticism, pure like elevating the narrative of this show more so than like I'm not even thinking about the ending of Game of Thrones with this.
Yeah. And another thing that I will say before we move on from this whole thing is that we've seen a lot of these characters, again, make decisions based on this dream. Viserys, Rhaenyra, Daemon, even Alicent to an extent by misinterpreting what Viserys was saying on his deathbed. We think that at some point Daemon is going to meet up with Rhaena and Sheepstealer. And, she's going to be claiming this wild dragon.
He tells her the song.
I wonder... No. But I wonder if maybe from... Even though it's like very different because he very clearly sees Daenerys in his vision, if maybe in a way he kind of like misinterprets of like, oh, like is Rhaena maybe this person that he saw in his dreams, and that's why he becomes so overprotective of her. If we're following the book narrative with Nettles, again, we don't know. We'll see how this plays out. But yeah.
Okay, interesting. Do you mind if we fast forward to the end with keep it on Daemon and watch and go to the end here? Because I just love seeing, or you talked about it earlier, but a new transformed Rhaenyra. She comes down the steps with Jace's sword, black.
No. I think it's just a regular sword.
Okay, I thought it was.
Yeah, but yeah, like that theme when like I think we were in an Allison scene, and then we cut to Rhaenyra, and she's like all in this like her new outfit basically, and the
Yeah.
theme that Ramin composed, like this like dark version of her theme, is so fucking cool.
It was like, you're happy that she's out and she's ready to go, but you're also like, it is potent of like doom and like
It almost reminded me of maybe not one for one, but it almost reminded me of Paul's dark theme in Dune Part Two. When we see
good
like, oh,
call.
we're Harkonnens, we'll
Yeah.
fight like Harkonnens, and like it cuts to like that scene of him arriving on the that
Yeah.
whole part of the desert, and there's like the
Yeah.
dark version of the Atreides theme. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
That's a great call. That's a great comparison. I fully agree with that. Shout out to Dune Part 3. But yeah, and you mentioned it, like she's a little hunched over. I think somebody in our chat said she was a little bit like masculine, a little bit. It was very interesting. Great physical performance from Emma there. It was just so weird seeing her with the full sword and she's ready to take charge. And yeah, her advisors aren't with it. She doesn't give a fuck. I miss seeing her dragon though, as she calls out to her dragon as she's about to leave here. What is her dragon called? It's like the most beautiful dragon.
Yeah, Cyrex.
Cyrex is a stunning dragon. Just a stunning dragon.
It's funny because in the books, they compare both her dragon and Aegon's dragon Sunfire, because they are very similar. They're both like this like goldish color.
Yeah.
But like in the books, again, also because the book like Fire and Blood is kind of like has a vendetta against kind of a little bit the blacks.
Yeah.
At least it's written in that way. They describe Sunfire as the most beautiful dragon, and then they're like, oh, and then there's Cyrex.
That's fucked up. That's great. But I always love seeing Cyrex. I always love. I forget what episode was it when Millie rode Cyrex onto the bridge at
episode 2. Yeah,
it was episode 2. Just like a stunning wide shot with Cyrex with the sunset. It was beautiful. But yeah, I love seeing Cyrex. Rhaenyra takes lead in the formation. Like she is not like in the back. She takes lead. She is ready to go, and they are over King's Landing. It's just again such a awesome, surreal moment. I'm watching this. I'm just like, we're only on episode 2. It feels so wild. Again,
episode 10.
I know. It feels episode 10 like I'm just like, whoa, like a dramatic shift in position for our characters over King's Landing. King's Landing always seems like a place of like, even in regular Thrones, like that's the place of the villains most of the time, like with the Lannisters, and now with like the High Towers, and now we're seeing the good guys go. Game of Thrones, we see the good guys get King's Landing until the very end of the series. And now we have like our quote unquote good guys. The black. I know. It was like burned into the crisp. But like now we see our quote unquote good guys, the blacks, finally back home, back at the House of the Dragon. It is such a weird feeling, but I really liked it. I liked getting the shots of the civilians, the overhead of the dragons, and they're here. They're ready. They're here to take charge. And I like how I love Daemon's armor. It always looks a bit too cumbersome on Daemon. But it's always so funny to see him in that. But he really wrecks shop. I love seeing Daemon just like glide and just kill all these people. Like there's like 5 people that he killed in the span of like 5 seconds. Like it's so cool seeing Daemon like that.
Yeah, I think it's Claire who in the behind the scenes where she's like, oh yeah, we kind of like drew inspiration from like the bride in Kill Bill, like that over the head like shot of him like kind of like going through the guards. Really cool.
So cool. And yeah, and the behind the scenes are like they practice being like in lockstep, like just like wind coming through the castle. Like they are like flowing, they are moving, not stopping. And it was so great. And I love seeing Rhaenyra in the background being like, it's kind of like when you're playing The Last of Us with Ellie and like and you're playing the game and Ellie is just kind of like, I'll help you out, Joel, and Joel's doing all the big work here. It's very funny seeing Rhaenyra in the background like, should I unleash the sword? And she's like, there's no need, Rhaenyra. Let Daemon do all the work. Let Joel do all the work here. Until the very end there, where she finally has to unleash the sword. But it was just so great seeing Daemon like go through the motions and then just push through the tower. I love the way he just like physically like pushes things aside to finally see the Iron Throne. And then I got nervous because like, okay, there's still people who are really fighting for this. Like there's like 10 guys. Were these like the Kingsguard, right?
Kingsguard, yeah.
The Kingsguard who was stopping them. I'm like, oh shit. But then the Gold Clothes came in, and I didn't even sweat. I know the show wanted to be like, oh, on two fronts. What's going to happen here? I'm like, I'm not sweating. I know the Gold Cloaks. I know my knowledge. And they locked in. I love, what was his name? The leader of the Gold Cloaks?
Sir Luther Largen. We'll talk about him later when we talk about Addison.
Yeah. It was so cool. It was so cool seeing him come in and take charge. I was like, there we go. There we go. Like, that's my boy, Daemon. And we support Queen Rhaenyra. I was like, oh, let's go. Like, I love those moments in Game of Thrones. It was just so amazing seeing them have this moment. What do you think about all this?
I really loved it. Again, like it's just really cool just seeing Matt Smith get dirty in the show. Anytime that they get him dirty, that is when they're like in the throne room, they think that they're getting like surrounded, and he's like, "Oh, just like get behind me or whatever." First of all, we didn't even talk about this earlier, but like that line earlier in Dragonstone when like the two people from her council are like, well, like you don't even have an army, and Daemon is like, well, she has me. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's go.
I'm a one-man army. I'm the Hulk. Let's go.
Yeah. He is basically their Hulk. So yeah, that was really fun. We need to talk about the whole Otto thing. We'll talk about it up until when he discovers him, I guess. But like, it's so satisfying getting to see Daemon get like the last laugh in all of this. Basically his arch nemesis in the show at this point, really. I mean, I guess Aemon would be, but like Aemon, the whole Aemon Daemon rivalry really does feel like a one-sided, like, you know, thing.
For sure. Like Aemon like looks up to, but also despises Daemon. Daemon's just like, that little kid.
I don't even know who you are.
I don't know who you are. Yeah, like, it's always been Otto. Like the Otto Daemon beef from season 1 is just fantastic. Like they hated each other in season 1. They hated each other. So it's finally cool to see where Otto has been this whole time.
Yeah, and this leads into the whole scene with the throne room with Otto. And I don't know if you want to put a pinpoint and go back to other characters and then come back to it.
Okay, cool.
We'll just talk about it.
But So yeah, what's next here? But we also see a lot going on with Alicent this episode. Alicent is making the round. I thought this was very fascinating because last week she was sending out the letters being like, okay, I got the army situated over here. I got Aemond going to said army at Harrenhal doing his job. We're going to talk about Aemond in a minute. But it was very good seeing her make all these like social rounds while also comforting Helena. It's like she's doing her motherly job, but also doing her like social, like make sure my end of the bargain is good. And unfortunately, both of those motherhood jobs and securing Rhaenyra's trip, it's costing a lot of time. And I was kind of shocked that she didn't make it out all the way. I thought she was like long gone. But no, she doesn't. But yeah, I like her seeing her talk to like the where did she go to where all the men are like getting dressed? Who are these people?
I don't know. It's just somewhere in the Red Keep. I think we saw the same location in season 2 and also 1. In season 1, I think we see it when Otto goes to see the twins to go find Aegon. And then in season 2, when Jaehaerys, I think it's the name of the baby. When Daemon sends the blood and cheese to kill Aegon, and then they kill the child instead. And then in the following episode, Cole goes to basically like rant on like one of the twins, but like, oh, it was your duty to protect them, but like he's just projecting.
Yeah.
It also takes place in that area, so it's just kind of like, I guess we can just call it like the Kingsguard locker room or the City Watch locker room.
Yeah, it's like a gym locker room. It's like, oh yeah, everybody put your towels on, and here comes the girl. But basically, her in this scene is basically saying like, hey, when Rhaenyra is coming, and when they come, don't put up a fight.
This is interesting because this is where I wanted to get into a little bit of the changes between the book and the show for the fall of King's Landing. So Sir Luther Largen, he's currently the commander of the City Watch. It used to be Daemon back in the day, and we see him agree to open the gates for Alicent and then Fire of Blood. He is doing it more voluntarily out of loyalty to Daemon from their shared history. There's this I'll get to it in a bit, but in the book, in Fire and Blood, if I remember correctly, Aemon leaves the city with Vhagar. The Blacks get word of this. They go to King's Landing. As soon as they spot the dragons, Allison in the book tries to send word to bring Aemon back to the city.
Because Allison's more evil in the books.
Yeah. Again, it's more of a like evil stepmother type of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, she tries to get word, but like they're like stopped by the Gold Cloaks, because the Gold Cloaks, the people from the City Watch, they kind of turn on the Greens as soon as they see Daemon fly above the city, and they start like either imprisoning or killing the people who are at the gates, so they can like leave them open for them to come in. Also in the book, I believe some of Corlys's like troops and his ships, they do arrive at King's Landing at the same time, so they do have a small army to go into the city. It's not just them walking in just by themselves with the dragons.
Okay.
And another interesting point that, again, massive change from the book is that before Aegon takes the role of Hand of the King from Otto and gives it to Sir Criston Cole, one of the things that Otto does is that he appoints his son, Sir Gawain, as the second in command of the City Watch. So this entire time, Gawain is at King's Landing with the Greens.
And he's not with Criston Cole.
He's not with Criston Cole. And you know, the whole, you know, the Blacks are coming into King's Landing. Everybody's kind of like going into like this paranoid state. The Gold Cloaks kind of like are turning on the Green. So there's like this like small like skirmish in the city happening. And at some point, Sir Gawain tries to like sound the alarm, and the Gold Cloaks stop him. They bring Gawain to Sir Luther Largen, and he kills him. And at this point, Gawain dies in the story.
Wow!
But obviously, like none of this happens in the show. Gawain is like in the Riverlands with Sir Criston Cole, so we'll see how he'll meet his end if he does in the show. But yeah, it's very different. And one of my favorite lines from this whole skirmish at King's Landing is, you know, they bring Sir Gawain to Sir Luther Largen, and one of the things that Luther tells him is like, Daemon gave us these cloaks, and they're gold no matter how you turn them. Basically, if you try to turn them green, it's like such a cool like line. And they kind of tried to do a version of that in the show, like, oh, he gave me this cloak like 20 years ago, whatever, in the show. But yeah, it's like way more messy in the book because, again, there is no deal between Alicent and Rhaenyra. It's supposed to be more peaceful.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that wasn't a thing, right? That was a show only thing. The whole deal.
Yeah. Alicent at some point does try to make deals with her once she's seated on the throne, but like we'll talk about that in the weeks to come, West, as we get to that. But yeah, and I believe also Otto this whole time in the book and Fire and Blood, he's just hanging out in King's Landing, trying to be like more diplomatic, while you know he doesn't have the role of the Hand of the King. So they I believe. I do believe Daemon is the one who kills him in Fire and Blood. I'm not too sure, but I do like the change that is actually Rhaenyra in the show.
I'm about to say, like, does Otto also die in this sequence? But
he does. Okay. Yeah,
I was kind of shocked, like, because for me it felt kind of messy for at least in the show for season 2 to be like, okay, Otto, you're fired. Him to disappear completely, and then we get a tease that he's in jail. And then we hear that's Laris. Then he's actually been in King's Landing this whole time. It felt kind of messy, but the end result is still very cool and very great. I just felt like I wonder if there was a better way to showcase
use Otto.
Use Otto.
I get it. Yeah. HBO really, like, I feel like maybe we won't care as much in the long run once the whole show is wrapped. Yeah. But right now, like, we always talk about this of a season of television, like, yeah, you can set up things for the next season, but it should still feel like a full story. And season 2 very much does not feel like a full story. This is the full story, episode 1 and 2 of season 3.
Yeah, for sure. Everything comes full thing. Because like, we had to wait a whole 2 years to be like, what's going on with, at least for me, I was like, what's going on with Otto? It made it feel much more bigger because they teased it in episode 8, of season 2, the finale. They're like, what's going on with Otto? Somebody has Otto. And I feel like that would be a bigger thing. And then it was like a side thing in the finale, which it wouldn't have been if it was just like 2 weeks later, Otto's back. Kind of thing. But either way, the Otto stuff was there. But yeah, that's very interesting that it was a more bloodily, because this felt more like a glorious, history buff here. It felt more like a glorious revolution when they come back to England. In this case, where it's just like, oh, it's like a bloodless kind of thing here.
And I do think that, Allison goes to Luther Largen and basically tells him to like stand down and open the gates and support Rhaenyra as soon as they get to the city. I feel like that would have happened anyway. And again, like maybe because of the whole loyalty to Daemon, as it would have happened in the book, well, as it happens in the book. So it really does come to show that deal really wasn't and didn't do much at the end of the day. Not just because of the things that went wrong out of her control, but also like even things that were in her control, like the city watch. I think that would have happened anyway.
Maybe, but let's get to the next one there, where she starts. We're skipping over a Helena scene. We'll get to Helena in a second, but I want to talk about the one on the roof. We talk about to the people who are like firing the scorpions. Those guys seem like they were ready to like our orders to fire anything.
They were locked in.
They were locked in. They were like, our orders to fire. If I see a bird, I'm shooting at it. And I'm like, yo, chill. And she's kind of like, if you see anything in the skies and it has wings and it's big, don't shoot at it. And the guy's like slowly understanding her points. Like, yeah, okay, cool. I don't want to die, so like, yeah, okay, yeah. Like that felt very interesting.
Really good comedy with Helena in that scene of like, her kids were also really nice to me when they were young. I'm like,
yeah, the guy's like, okay.
It's like, what is she talking about?
Yeah, it's like it was so funny because like Allison's like, Helena, you're the queen now. So I'm telling them what to do, but like you're the one who said it. So she's like, Helena. Right here, she says, if there's a dragon in the sky, don't shoot. And Helena's like, yeah, they were there. The boys were nice. Like, not the boys are dead. But the boys are dead now. So it doesn't really play here. But it was just very funny.
Yeah, I do want to talk about Helena because there is something very interesting going on with this character, because last season we were made to believe that this version of Helena, one way or another, knows what's going on, knows how all of this is going to play out. And we were like, I remember one of the things that we were talking in season 2 is like, does she know? And is she just letting things happen because she knows that the end goal is to get to eventually Daenerys and, the main timeline with Thrones and all of that shit.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to Helena in this episode, and there's a lot of stuff that Helena doesn't know, and she seems to be surprised that she doesn't know. And I admittedly, I was a little bit confused by that. Like the whole thing with like, like you talk to her, like when she's like talking to Allison and, about the deal that she made with Rhaenyra. It's like, I would have thought maybe you would have known about this if you keep getting all of these weird dreams or whatnot, or maybe those dreams are being very selective. But also I kind of got the sense of like, is Helena getting all of these prophetic dreams, and as soon as they happen, does she kind of like forget about them? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know exactly what's going on in there. I kind of like it. It's kind of like this, like what's it called? Like this person burdened with knowledge but doesn't know what to do with it. She kind of has the pieces of the puzzle but doesn't know how to put the puzzle together. I'm
right there. I'm with you right there. I like it, and for me, it's not that she has the pieces of the puzzle and doesn't know what to do with that. I think she has the pieces of the puzzle and doesn't care.
She doesn't care.
She doesn't care. She's like, she's full on like, I want my KFC. I want my chickens. I want to raise chickens. I think she just doesn't care, and because she doesn't care, it doesn't stick. It doesn't
register. Maybe.
Yeah. It doesn't register. Because she is so, I don't say aloof, but she's just like, she's getting bits and pieces. It's overwhelming. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like if Jean Grey like just didn't give a crap, and she's like, she's getting all this knowledge. She can read people's minds, but it's just like, okay, but I'm moving on to my thing, to whatever I want. And what she wants has nothing to do with what's going on here, the politics and the impending stuff. It's only when she's like confronted, like she was season 2 with Aemond, when she's like physically confronted, is when she's like, oh, you're gonna die, don't go, God's eye, shit like that. So she's like, whenever she's confronted, she can like really lock into her memories, especially when it's like people she cares about, like Aemond, cares, family. So that's kind of interesting. But I did like it, and I did like a line from Allison where she's like, when she's dragging Helena, she's like, I lost the other two, but I want to care about you. you remember what she says? Like basically saying like, I failed Aegon and Aemon, but I'm not going to fail.
I want you to be happy, something like that.
Something like that. I thought that was very sweet. You know,
I think that's why she starts talking about the chickens. Like, what would make you happy, something like that.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Like this is rare from Alicent. You know, who isn't like the most. I mean, Alicent's a very complex character. She's caring to selected people, but then she's also an asshole to certain people. But then she also likes. It's messy. I love Alicent, but she really does. One thing that was so prevalent in season 2 was that I really didn't do the best I could have done with Aegon, Aemon, my children in general. And that's when she really was like, okay, I'm going to help out Helaena. We're going to get out of this city. I'm going to get you your chickens. So I really liked that. Like I like seeing her be a mother to Helaena. But now that they're locked in King's Landing, I wonder how that's going to continue. Is she going to try and save Helaena? Helena's in a very dangerous position. Helena's basically, you know, as it was, like the Queen Regent. And then now we have another queen who just took over the throne, who's just like, killing the Queen Regent would be, you know, smart, I think. But that's not what Rhaenyra would do. So I'm very curious to see how Helaena is going to progress this season.
I wonder if we're going to get scenes between Daemon and Helaena, given that in the season finale last season, when he gets the dream, he sees Helaena in the vision.
Does he?
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he does.
Wow.
I think they're even talking to each other or something like that through like, you know, like before the scene with Helaena and Aemon, like on the balcony, and she's like looking out into nothing. She's like having like, I think I'm gonna start rewatching season 2.
I gotta rewatch that.
Yeah. But I think they're like talking to each other. So I'm like, are we gonna get like something? Like they're gonna talk about this whole thing again, about the dream, about the visions, about the future. Yeah, very interesting. And also like the thing with Helaena is that she's both active and inactive, both in the show and in the book. She is slightly more active in the show because she does have this, you know, sense of foresight. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens to her and how it plays out in the show compared to the book.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. We get so little of Helaena, but whenever we do, it's so much fun to talk about her because she's a funny, fun character who is like tonally at odds with everything around her in the show. Like this is a huge sacking of King's Landing, and she's just like, you know, they were cool boys, chickens. Like I love watching her. She's a very fun actress to follow. But yeah, so that was Alicent. I like seeing it, and then at the end she doesn't end up leaving, and then she has to confront Rhaenyra, which makes it for a very fun final scene between the two of them. But moving over, before we get to the end of the show, we have 2 more things to talk about with Aemon and then Aegon. Aemon real quick.
Corlys, I guess, but there's not much to talk about Corlys. He just names. He just gives the brothers the name, and that's it.
I like seeing Corlys though. We're seeing black people together on an island. This was great. This is great. Thank you. So I did like. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you. Baela and Adam.
I believe that's Alan.
Alan. Fuck these. George, I'm gonna kill you. These names are terrible. Great names, but like, I'm so confusing for me. So yeah, Alan, the tall one. Adam is the sea smoke guy. But Alan and Baela, which is very fun to talk about, because Baela, as a writer, we don't see her around the Corlys faction as much. She had a couple scenes in season 2, but it's so cool seeing Baela in this scenario and just getting. What did I say last week? We need more Baela scenes. So although this was slight, I did like seeing Baela have a fun conversation with Alan here. She just lost her husband, so she's like also grieving in her own way while also looking for her grandfather in Corlys. So it's just very cool to see like how she's feeling with Alan, who doesn't have that like that way of life as Baela does, but they are able to connect via the connection to Corlys, which I thought was very sweet and very cool. I like seeing them two together. So it was very cool seeing them not in lockstep, but just like have some semi understanding about like where they are and what's going on. And she was the one to say like, you know, because she's like fully on thinking that Corlys is dead or whatever. But she's like, Corlys would have liked for you to like.
He survived. He survived worse.
Yeah. So
well, maybe not worse, but like as bad.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, we gotta lock him. We gotta make sure he's still alive. But it was so cool talking about him, talking about them, and she's like, yeah, I just lost Jay. So it was very cool to seeing them have like this normal conversation. Then later on, we see Corlys come back up. We skip over the rescue scene. But we see it kind of reminds me of in Hoth when they like fly past Luke and it's just like boop, he's in the back of the tank, like there he is. It's just like we found him. I repeat, we found him. And we see Adam come into there. We see Adam, Corlys, Bela, and Alan all like in the same shot with burning the burning home in the background. It was just a very ominous but cool shot. Yeah, Driftmark in the background just burning, and they're all just standing there looking at it, just like, yeah. But I did like one of my favorite lines in the whole show in this episode was getting Corlys being like, I can't offer you the title or I can't offer you the castle anymore, but I can just offer you a title. He's like, the title is worth more than me than a mountain of gold. I was like, there we go. Like, it's good. They bonded last week. They're continuing to bond. It's a continuing of their growing relationship.
And it's a continuation of Corlys's arc in the show of like how much he cares about his reputation and what he has to show for his reputation and all of the treasures that he has in castle, and like having one of his children be like, I don't give a fuck about that. Just I give a fuck about you, basically.
Yeah, it was great. And like, the character last week, the villain Pirate Queen, wasn't that great, but her main goal effectively was to be like, we're gonna target his castle and he's gonna be pissed. And he was affected, but again, because we got those scenes with Alan, it was more so about like being with Alan than more so than that. So again, I like that kind of stuff. Like he's starting to prioritize family more than his castle, which I think is a lingering effect from Rhaenys, right? Wasn't Rhaenys the one who was also like, you should legitimize the two boys? Was that her, but she's doing the opposite?
No, so I mean, season one of their big arguments after the funeral of Laena is that she wants Corlys to name Laena's kids, Bela and Rhaena, basically Bela, to name her the heir of Driftmark because she's actually of their blood. And there's that iconic line from Corlys of like, history does not remember blood, it remembers names.
Yeah.
But I do think it's another thing that's gonna come from the aftermath of the Gullet and like his relationship with Adam and Alan is that I think Corlys is gonna start looking out for his people, and not so much for Rhaenyra's. So,
interesting.
And given that he is technically the hand of the queen, we'll see if that's like.
I forgot he had that title.
Yeah. 2 years, 2 years between seasons.
There's so many titles in this fucking show. Everybody gets a title. Miss Area, Corlys, like everybody gets a title. Yeah, because he walked in all like recovering with the title, right? I remember that now. So that's cool.
So we'll see if there's any like friction between Corlys and Rhaenyra in the weeks to come.
Exactly. But meanwhile, Aemond is on his way to Harrenhal, like little mama's boy he is. My mom said I gotta come here, so I'm here. And I love, but just like I love seeing Daemon, being like making Swiss cheese out of those guys. I love seeing Aemond over here with big ass Vagar, just like completely, not melt down Harrenhal, but just completely burn up the sheep outside and people outside farming, and then make his way inside and just like completely wreck shop. But dual wielding too, the dagger and with the sword there. It was really, really cool to see him actually put his mouth where his mouth is. You know what I mean? I forget the line. But actually see him physically fighting. We haven't seen Aemond actually do this in a minute. And he does pretty well 99% of the way until the very end. But he did a very good job here.
Yeah, two very interesting things happening here. One, I think that the show doesn't really draw a lot of attention to it, but the fact that Aemond is wearing armor for the first time in the show, even though like in previous occasions, even previous battles, he just goes in with his regular leather outfit. Like he just kind of like showing like he doesn't care what happens to him. Like he's not fearful of anything. And the fact that he, after he tries to go to Dragonstone last season, and then he sees the other dragons on the horizon, he's like, never mind, turning back. And he's like finally afraid for the first time maybe since he was a kid. And the fact that once he leaves King's Landing, the fact that he leaves with armor, I think is very interesting. It says a lot about where his psyche is. So that's cool. And then like point two, it's basically a mirror image of Daemon taking a whole in season 2, but like Daemon is a lot of, it's not that he's like a lot of talk and no show to whatever the saying is. It's not like he doesn't commit to his word, but if there's a way to do it diplomatically, like Daemon will go for it. And
He's
that's what
mature. He's smart. Like,
he's
yeah.
And Aemon is just like he just wants to be like a wannabe Daemon, and in his head, I think he has that image in his head of they know like, oh, he's the badass guy that just enters a room and starts like cutting people. Even that scene when Daemon kills Baemon in season 1 in the throne room, and everybody's like so shocked, but like Aemon is like kind of like almost turned on by it. It's really funny. But yeah, like we constantly joke in our group chat of Aemon does what Daemon says that he's gonna do, or what people think Daemon would do. Otto, one of his biggest points against Daemon throughout the show was, oh, he wants the throne. He's power hungry. He doesn't care about you, Viserys. If he could have his way, he would kill you. But like that's not who Daemon is. He's the complete opposite of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come in with Aegon and Aemon wanting to be like Daemon. He is what Otto said of Daemon. He doesn't like his brother. He kind of hates him. He tries to kill him.
Well, he's definitely going to kill him.
Yeah, twice. Twice in the same week, basically. And he wants to be king. He is power hungry just as much as, I mean, I don't know if I would say as much as Daemon, because Daemon surely would like to sit the throne. I think he left that idea a long time ago by this point in the show. But yeah, like again, even like him entering into the room where Lord Simon is, and it's very similar to Daemon, but like Daemon is like, okay, well, I'm not gonna kill an old man, I guess. And
I'm
like
gonna have
Daemon
dinner.
is like,
They give me free food. Shit, I'm gonna eat.
yeah. And Daemon is like, nah, I'll just kill you guys. And I think it's really fun that he's portraying himself as this badass, and he just gets almost outed by just this random guy who just stabs him slightly in the back. It's like it just takes that much to like put you down, boy. Like, calm down.
This was hilarious. Yeah, it was an exact parallel, and we gotta do a rest in peace to the GOAT, Simon Strong there.
My guy.
It's such a great character. Again, when he came in the episode with wine, it's like, oh, we love you, Simon. Simon's so cool. And then we see him confront Aemon. He's like, okay, round 2 with these royals. Let me just get up, convince this guy, have dinner with me, only to get stabbed. Fuck you, Aemon. I love you, Aemon, but fuck you. It was like, oh damn, like it wasn't gonna work this time. But I do like as one of his sons gets one up on him, just like gets right up beneath his armor there, right when he turns around. Because like, yeah, Aemon just like he wants to be like Daemon so much, but we always forget about it. But Daemon's just so much older, so much more mature than Aemon, even though like in the show they look kind of similar in age. It's like Daemon's much more mature. He's been around the block. He knows when to kill, when not to kill. When the guy was talking shit about Rhaenyra, cut his head off in the front of everybody. Sure, why not? But when being diplomatic, again, like I said, Daemon doesn't have the best social skills, but he's not an idiot. He's not going to kill an old man and his 2 sons. Like, okay, why would I do that? Especially when I'm supposed to be here for an army. So he sits down, has a meal with them, has a good lunch, gets his room set up like a hotel. It's shitty service, but he gets a good room. Aemon over here just kills him. I was like, wow. Like I was really, it didn't super surprise me because it's Aemon, but I was just more so upset because he goes Simon. But I was also surprised when the boy just like slides a knife up his back. That was crazy. And
that's all it takes.
Just how it dismantles Aemon. That's what I love about this show so much. It's so raw, but so real too. It's just like, yeah, he gets stabbed in the back, like in the gut. You're like, you're out. Like, oh shit. Like I like how he just like slowly lost balance. Yeah. He's like help. Gutturally, like he couldn't even say the helpful word. He's like, it's like, oh shit. So cool. And yeah.
Is this Alice's way to get her castle in the future?
This is Alice's way to get her castle, get some good allegiance. But I am curious, like, and I mentioned this last week. I don't think Ryan or the writers want to do, even though they keep saying Daemon and Aemon are parallel all the time. I don't want a 1-to-1. I don't want a vision of the week for Aemon. Even though one vision would be cool. But I'm wondering how Alice's relationship to Daemon is going to differ from Alice's relationship to Aemon. Alice's Daemon, they were kind of like she was a witch, but kind of like brother sisterly thing. She was like advising him. He was kind of weary of her initially, but then he grew kind of like a fond of her a little bit.
They
Like,
were
oh, here
bullying
comes.
each other basically. Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of picking on each other, but also it's like better heed my warnings. And he's kind of like annoyed by her, but also understood her to a degree. As you see, even in the beginning of this episode, they're kind of like overlooking the river together. They're like have a cordial relationship. How is this going to be different from Aemond and Alice? Like at least from the onset, Alice is much more high ground to Aemond, where Alice never stood above Daemon necessarily. Like, yeah, she is like picked on him. She gave him these visions, all kind of stuff. Like she had the upper hand, like psychologically, obviously. But like it was never like, overwhelmingly like she has the power in this relationship.
Yeah.
Now, Aemon is literally at her feet. And so it's like she really has the high ground. She has the power in this relationship. I wonder how it's going to go. Because Aemon is also very hard-headed. So I'm just very intrigued. I'm very intrigued how this storyline is going to go. It's one of my most intriguing storylines for the future of this season here going forward. So yeah, but and also like on top of like, so Kristen Cole and them are on their and Gawain are on the way to Harrenhal, right? They're gonna be like, yo, what happened to our boy Dave? What happened to our boy Aemon? Like he's knocked out now. It's like, aren't they gonna be like? I wonder how that's gonna work out too.
Yeah. There's one more battle that we need to see with Kristen Cole. I think the way the show is doing it in reverse.
Talk about it.
I think they're already in Harrenhal, and then I think his forces, Kristen Cole's forces, they try to go south and they meet the Winter Wolves and the Riverland people. And I think it might be the opposite here, where they're like kind of like a little bit more south and they're trying to go back to Harrenhal. But we'll see how that goes. Very little Kristen Cole this season so far, but
nobody's
complaining. Yeah, nobody's complaining.
I do like Gawain. I want to see more Gawain.
Yeah. That's something that I'm interested in how they're gonna deal with that character moving forward. If they're gonna off him at some point or whatnot.
Lastly, we have Aegon. Aegon on the carriage.
Aegon.
Larys. He's still pissed off at Larys for being like, you sold me out, and now I'm gonna die to Rhaenyra. Fuck me. But they get saved by Captain Hook and the pirates over here. The Triarchy going crazy on the land now. They lost a war, but they're just going crazy, butchering anything they can see. But they're losing. They're still getting killed off slowly but surely by the forces on the land. But again, these Triarchy, chaos is a ladder, and chaos is an open door. Literally opens the door for Aegon. Aegon, again, talk about comedy. Very funny scene with Aegon, like whacking the guy, stabbing the guy, laughing and yelling and going crazy.
Doesn't Larys tease him like, oh, you stopped asking for milk of the puppy, and Aegon is like, well, yeah, you said you weren't gonna give it to me or whatever. It's just a really fun dynamic. Again, like I am as much in the dark as you, because we don't really dive into what happens with Aegon in between his disappearance and him eventually coming back into the story. So again, it's just really fun. We do know that Aegon wants to go back to Rook's Rest because there is a garrison there, or he thinks that there's a garrison. That's the castle where the battle between Meleys, Vhagar, and Sunfire happened last season.
Okay. So is that where Kristen Cole is? That where we saw him this?
I think he might be close by Rook's Rest. So I think by garrison, Aegon meant Kristen Cole's, but I'm just making an assumption here. I'm just educated assumption here.
And Larys says like but that's too far away, right?
Yeah, he wants to go to Duskendale. I don't remember what for. Again, not much detail in the book, so we'll see. I do think it's fun that Larys is playing a bit of the two sides a game here, with obviously still supporting Aegon because it's a much easier person to manipulate, but also leaving like a little gift for the Blacks in case he was still in King's Landing. So always plotting with that guy.
Always plotting. Yeah, it was always like, here's a gift from Larys. So it was just very funny. Larys halfway across the continent over there. But it was cool. It was cool seeing them. It was very funny. Just a very comedic, chaotic scene. It also gives us a lay of the land, like how the pirates, even though the war is won, as Baela said, there's still lots of pirates on the ground. just going crazy. So very cool to see. So yeah, that's kind of everybody, and then we're back at the very end of this episode with Otto on his knees. Also, just again the laughter from Matt Smith when he sees Otto. It was so good, so good.
Fucking Lilo and Stitch over here.
Big time. This is so great. And then Otto's like, "Fuck me." Oh, it was so great. And I've missed Otto so much, but at the same time, like I'm upset we're not getting more snarky Otto. But man, what a great way to end it for his life.
Yeah. Again, like I mentioned it earlier, I love the fact that Rhaenyra is the one who does it. And I mentioned the whole, people perceiving her as either mad or weak earlier in the episode with the whole Jay scene. I am with Damon 100% that she is the one who needs to do it.
It can't be him.
Strength. It can't be him. And I even love the fake out of him pulling the sword, but then like handing it to her. Because it needs to be Valyrian still. Like, she's not a warrior. Her dad never let her train with a sword. So if she's gonna do a decapitation with a sword, it better be Valyrian steel, so it's a clean cut. But I love that how she almost turns into a little girl again.
She does.
Like, even worse than a little girl, because even like Millie Alcock Rhaenyra wouldn't have reacted this way. Like, even the way that she killed the pig in episode 2 of or was it episode 3? I think it was episode 3 of season 1. Like, she's much more confident, and would have been much more confident with if somebody handed her a sword. But Rhaenyra is grieving. She has this man who, for better or worse, most likely worse, helped raise her as a child, because he was always present throughout her life. So even though he is a traitor and he did plot against her, he also was a part of her life growing up. And not only that, but like, he's the father of essentially her ex best friend. So there's all of these things combined, very overwhelming. The fact that she's crying throughout this whole thing in front of all of these people, it's supposed to show strength, but it's making her look weak. And I'm really interested in how people are gonna react to that in the weeks to come, because again, like, she's crying throughout the whole thing, and I get it. Like, she is very overwhelming, and to top it all out, like, Otto is also like taunting her. I was like, oh, like, if Viserys saw you running out, he would be like very disappointed or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, like, it's gonna be very complicated how Rhaenyra is gonna deal with the aftermath of this. And another reason why I love the fact that she's the one who does it is that there's a lot of blame to put on a lot of characters for why this thing happened in the first place, the whole dance. But I think at the end of the day, you need to put the blame on Otto.
You have to.
Not only did he scheme against, the blacks throughout the season 1, season 2, yada yada yada. He's the one who suggested to put Rhaenyra on the throne in the first place. He could have, yeah. Like, this is both in the book, and I believe also in season 1, where he just doesn't want Daemon to be the heir. And at this point, Viserys is not married to Alicent yet, so there's no other child to name as heir besides Rhaenyra. And he's the one who keeps insisting, like, oh, maybe you should name her for now. And then Viserys does, and obviously he never changes his mind. He wants his daughter to be the queen. And now the whole arc of season 1 is Otto trying to like scheme and convince people to like, oh, actually, like, we should just name Aegon because he's the man, right? There's the whole misogyny aspect of the story. But like, again, like, everything really does come back to Otto of like, you might be saying all of these things that like, oh, she's a woman, like, she could never, but like, you're the one who helped put her in that position to begin with. Exactly. So it's very sad. It's very satisfying to see like this. I'm gonna miss Riz, but like, it's very satisfying for that character to meet the end that he does in the show, particularly, given that Rhaenyra is the one who does it.
Yeah, Rhys Ifans is a fantastic actor. Should have got an award for season 1, or at least nominated for season 1. But yeah, it's never left my mind that this was all Otto. I would never forget one of my favorite episodes from season 1, which I think is a near perfect season of TV. I mean, The episode where Allison overhears what she thinks she hears with Viserys's mumblings and all those dreams he's talking about. When she goes to tell people, what do we see, guys? Like, because people still blame Allison for all this nonsense. She opened up the doors. They're already having a council meeting without Allison.
It was gonna happen anyway.
It was gonna happen anyways. Allison walks in. The candles are lit. She sees 5 grown-ass men sitting there.
They're rolling their little ping pong like balls to each other.
Otto's sitting there, head of the table. Otto's chilling there, head of the table. I forget who else is in the room, but it's like Otto. I think one of the Lannister guys was there.
The Tywin Lannister, Beesbury, Lord Beesbury. They kill him right there.
Kill him right there.
The Grand Maester.
Yep.
Orwell and the guy that tried to assault Allison this week, Sir Jasper.
Like, they were all there, guys. They were all there. Allison, before she even hears the dream. So, because people always be like, Allison started all this drama. F Allison. Allison isn't great. Of course, she wrote it, but what else was she supposed to do? But she wrote it, and then she, continued to be Allison. But Otto was the one who was already there. He was going to have some kind of excuse, regardless of Viserys' mumblings or rumblings. Allison just gave him like the green light to be like, okay, this is what I said. And they're like, oh, shoot, we were going to do this Friday, but let's do this now. Like, that's basically what it was. Like, we were supposed to do this months later, but now it's time. Like, even before Viserys is dead, they were ready to strike. And that's what happened. They just got like some verbal confirmation. They just needed an excuse, and they got it from Allison.
Yeah, and one of my favorite scenes in season 2, episode 2, is that back and forth between Otto and Aegon when he fires him. And Aegon is like, well, my dad wanted me to be king, and Otto just starts laughing, and he's like, is that what you think? And like everybody knows, like Otto knows that nobody wants these fucking people, the Greens, to be, ruling the Seven Kingdoms, but it's just a fucking ambition that keeps getting the best of it.
I put y'all there. Nobody else wanted you to be there. I put y'all there so I can be in power. But nobody likes you, Aegon. Nobody really respected Alicent. So it's like, I helped put y'all there. And then Aemond with One Eye Willie over here. So it's like, I helped you guys. Out. So that's one of my favorite fucking scenes in the entire freaking Game of Thrones verse is Aegon versus Otto. That shit was delicious. I can't wait. I'm gonna do a season 1 through 3 rewatch before season 4 for sure. But yeah, it was just fantastic. And like you said, she's crying. Rhaenyra is crying through all of this. Hit him in the back. He's like, it's so crazy, dog. And she's like,
he's like, can Daemon do it?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, can Daemon do it, please? And then she gets a cleave. I was shocked that it only took 2 swings though. Like, boom, okay, bad.
It's Valyrian steel.
Bad look for her to do the one miss, but then she gets the one miss, and she's crying about it. But she gets the head cut off. She is able to climb the steps, dripped in blood. The reverse shot with the blood going up the throne.
Reflection of the throne, yeah.
Peek. And then she's sitting there. We're all good. Credits, right? No, Alicent is back, throwing in front of Rhaenyra. These 2 sisters, lovers, what do we call them? We don't know. And now they're back together again. It's funny because it's like, it should have been momentous because they haven't seen each other in a long time, but like they saw each other last week.
In their timeline,
in their timeline, by them sneaking out and all that shit. So it's not as like, oh, it's been so long. It's
and
like,
they saw each other multiple times last season. So
right, so it's like, okay, hello again. but Emma portrays that so well because she's like shocked, but then she has to harden herself at the same time. It's like shock and harden. It's very cool. Very
yeah. There's something that people keep making fun of since season 1 with the Rhaenyra depiction in the show about how she's the one who keeps suffering the greater losses. She lost 2 of her children. She had a stillborn. Rhaenys died. All of these different things that keep happening to Rhaenyra. And but like every time that she's confronted by one of the Greens, more specifically Alicent, she's always like kind of like justifying it or like feeling guilty about it. Even though like obviously out of the 2, Rhaenyra is the one who has gone through more shit in just a matter of weeks. But even though like a lot of people is like, oh, that doesn't really make sense, or like blah 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 blah. I think people are missing the point that there's this like saying just in the world in general of when you meet somebody who you think that is like genuinely a good person, and then that person tells you like, oh, I don't think I'm that good of a person, and then it's like, no, like the fact that you're thinking that proves that you are a good person.
Yes.
That is kind of giving me the same vibe with Rhaenyra throughout this whole show of like, she's the one who keeps suffering all of these losses. She is also, her team members are making like really bad decisions too. Killing the Aegon's child and all of that with blood and cheese. But the fact that she's feeling remorseful, even like as she's killing Otto, even though like she shouldn't, like on a principle level, like this guy fucking screw you over, like
Not at all.
she's still like showing a level of sympathy, and that says so much about her character in contrast to everybody else. Um, so yeah, we'll see how that plays out. We'll see how it will see her like go on this like dark journey that everybody in the show keeps alluding to.
Exactly.
But yeah, like another thing with Allison is the fact that you do have to keep in mind that Otto has been missing canonically in the show, and like the first time that she saw him again, he's just like laying dead in front of her. Um,
He's like, oh.
oh, I guess never mind. But yeah, I love this scene. Probably one of my favorite scenes in the show, maybe in Thrones. Um, Again, the thing that I'm more intrigued by, besides the Allison and Rhaenyra relationship here, is just how people are gonna perceive her. Because again, like the whole thing with her crying at the beginning for Jace, making herself like talking to herself basically, how people are gonna perceive that, and then now fast forward to her taking King's Landing, killing Otto, and she's just crying throughout the whole thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
Very, very interesting. It like you said, it's crazy how many times we've had the best. I wonder if like the best Game of Thrones scenes in the entire verse, House of Dragon and Game of Thrones included, take place in this location. Like the Tyrion scene. I automatically think of like Tyrion going off on everybody.
The trial, yeah.
Isn't that right there? Am I wrong? Is that in the same
Yeah,
place?
yeah, yeah.
It
It's there.
says Tyrion and then Viserys in season 1 climbing up the steps with
Multiple
the
times in
crown.
season 1.
Multiple times. Like it was just when Damon gives him the crown, I'm like tears, like that's peak. And then now we see Rhaenyra climbing up the throne. It's like a lot of the best scenes are in this.
A lot of the best scenes between Varys and Littlefinger happen in the throne room. Yeah.
Yes. OG, like season 1 and season 2 shit right there. Yeah. So great stuff. Great stuff. Whenever you're in this room, good shit's gonna happen. Great episode overall. I'm loving this season 3 so far. Again, should have been season 2. We all know the deal. But I'm loving season 3 so far. And I can't wait for next week where things are getting a bit more politicky. I'm curious to see what Allison's role is, what's going on with the Damon's like standoff in the fields. What's gonna happen there, and what's next for Aemond and Alice. But find me on Twitter, Harris EV9. I will be going live later tonight to do my cup of tea with my boy Nathan, talking about Toy Story. We never talked Disclosure Day with Nathan, at least. Disclosure Day, and then we both saw Supergirl. So we're going to talk about all those things. And then there's a lot of Marvel rumors floating around to talk about as well. So cast me up later tonight. Follow Harris EV9 for everything. Edgar, how about you?
You can find me at EDG or TEG on all social medias. You can find some of my written work, a lot in clear reviews in the Cinema Spot. My last review was for The Invite, so if you want to go catch that, go for it. Have you seen that or not playing on your territory yet?
I always check AMC and it's like July 9th. I'm like,
okay.
gosh. July 9th is a big night. That's the Big Brother premiere, and it's when The Invite comes out. So I'm seeing 2 birds, 1 stone that day. It's going to be a big
day. Yeah. You're getting a little treat before the Odyssey, the week before the Odyssey.
Yeah, the Odyssey is July. I keep thinking the Odyssey is like July 10th, but it's like July 17th. I got to wait 3 weeks for the Odyssey. Yeah, I'm hyped.
Yeah, almost there.
I'm seeing that like 3 times opening weekend. I'm ready.
Hell yeah. And yeah, you can find this podcast at WHFG Podcast for updates and all of that, whatever we're doing. And we will see you next week for more Thrones, for more schemes.
Yeah, and our June recap is coming up soon. It's the last week in June. It's June 29th day or whatever. So we're gonna talk about all the movies we saw in June soon. Yeah,
I'm gonna watch what is it, Jackass and Supergirl right after this. So I'll be all cut out for next month.
Nice.
But yeah, next week, Orman and Damon, maybe we'll see. But yeah, we'll see you guys later. Bye.